maybe for the rest of the AFC, maybe yourself in the division, with them losing that kind of player for the rest of the division?
Well, I think the Chiefs are certainly more they're about more than one player, and they still have their most important player. And they've got an outstanding coach, and the reason why they've been to 4 consecutive AFC Championship games is because they have a really good team, and so I think that all those pieces are still in place that have really allowed them to do that. So I think what you're seeing right now is competition in the NFL, and I think it's amazing for the NFL. You're seeing all these teams make these types of moves, and I think that's what the NFL represents is, hey, you better be working to make your team as good as you can be, or you're going to get left behind. And I think that Kansas City, they're still going to be there because they have that championship experience, and the pieces that help build that place, they're all still there.
Defensive-centric coach, what's your philosophy on overseeing the development of young quarterback?
Yeah, it was last year. That was the number one question I was asked. What are you going to do for this young quarterback? And I think that I answered it. I think last year was you got to build a complete team around the guy, and I think that a big part of the process is making sure that offensively, that structurally good things are in place. That's why last year we really focused on our offensive line, and in the draft, really completing our skill position players, tight end, receiver, and we draft a left tackle who's a first-team All-Pro, and so I think that's structurally giving him what he needs, and then surround him with a coaching staff that can really maximize his gifts, create an offense for him, not just a system that you've run before, but create something for him. And then, from a defensive standpoint, I think so much about developing as a quarterback is understanding what's on the other side, and we feel like he's playing against the best system in the world every day in practice, and that's going to also amplify his growth. And I think you saw that this year. I think that we got to learn him as the season went on. He got better from week 1 to the last game, and he's still at the beginning. And I think when you have someone like him that works as hard as he does, that has all the right stuff as a competitor, you can really get that going quickly. And I think that he's shown everybody how special he is.
Day-to-day, how hands-on are you in that process? How much input do you give, and how much do you just give your assistants sort of the free rein to?
Well, I think it's the most important part of the team is your quarterback. So I've loved teaming up with our offensive staff. I love teaming up with him. This relationship means a lot to me, and I think that one of my favorite parts of the NFL week was on Friday when we're the last 2 in the building. You're just sharing that kind of calm before the storm, and because I think when it's personal with your quarterback, when you really know each other, you trust each other, you're just able to take it farther. And I think we got off to a good start last year, and but there's still a lot of work to do.
Brandon, quarterbacks are obviously the most important position. Why do you think teams have been more aggressive, and taking on a greater sense of urgency to go get their guy?
I just think you see the value when you have a special quarterback, where it can take your team, and I think that when you can make some moves to acquire one, whether it's through the draft or trade, free agency, it gives your team a lot better chance to be successful in the long term. And I think what the quarterback position represents is he just affects a lot of people. Okay, that position impacts your team in a big way, not just your offense, but your defense, your kicking game, your coaching staff, your fans. It just has a significant impact. So I think that there is that race to find one, because you know what it can do for you.
Teams are more eager to give up prime draft picks and take on dead money, like walk away from the sunk cost, to do it too, in a way that maybe they weren't in the past.
Yeah, and I think that remains to be seen if that strategy is going to be effective. I mean, just because you make a move for one now doesn't mean it's going to work out. But I think that competition is healthy for the NFL to find one. But I still think the best way to do it is to draft one and to truly make that guy your player that you grow with. And but as you guys have seen, there's a lot of different ways to onboard a great quarterback, and they're becoming available later in their careers because they're playing a lot longer. So I think that statement too, that they're playing longer, just kind of gives you a better chance later in their career for you to get one.
Running back, you and Tom have both talked about sort of finding someone reliable behind Austin. So far, the free agency, you haven't sort of gone that route, but what's the plan there for the second running back spot to find someone who can spell Austin?
Yeah, we looked in free agency. It wasn't that deep of a group, and again, just really assessing value. Just felt like working through the draft would be a better option for us. And we're still going to explore that, post-draft, because I think that what you're seeing now is you can onboard these guys in a lot of different stages. But it's definitely a position that we're going to be looking for in the draft, and we'll see if it materializes. But we want to give Austin that complementary style, and then the young guys that we have on our team, we expect them to improve. We still believe in those guys, and I think competition is going to bring out the best in Josh and Larry too.
Any concern, going with the younger player in that spot? Obviously you drafted Larry yesterday. You had Josh Kelly. Just trying to find someone that's reliable and proven. Any concern going with another young player to maybe fill that role?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. I think that we're trying to onboard guys for that position for the future. And I think that when you get, if you take a look at that position in the league historically, guys that you get after their first contract don't do as much for you as the ones that, you draft. So I think it's a young man's position for the most part, and I think that we're going to just continue to look that way to build our team.
How does having the quarterback question answered at this point in your build, how does that open you up to the, agility to make some of these maybe bolder or even unconventional moves?
Yeah, I think Jordan Law's made it like the rookie contract window. But, there have been plenty of quarterbacks that have won championships outside that rookie contract. I think that there's like an explosion of that concept. I think from a pure financial standpoint, yes, there is more flexibility to build other places, around him in his rookie contract. But I think the goal is still the same, is to build a complete team. And I think that, when we got here, it's like, it's not just enough to outscore people in this league, because there's going to be a game where you don't shoot it well. You got to win in a lot of different ways in this league. And so that's what I think, when you have a quarterback, it's not just surrounding him with offensive weapons. It's surrounding him with a complete team where the pressure isn't on him every single game to score 35, to throw for 350, to bring you back. And I think that's what we're trying to do is surround Justin and all of our players with a complete team.